Exadata includes both the hardware and the software required to deploy Oracle databases. So when you talk about Exadata versions, there are two types of versions: hardware version, Exadata hardware version, and the software versions. Generally, in the traditional environment, you talk about Oracle software version, Oracle database version. If somebody asks you which Oracle database you are running, you will say I'm using Oracle 19C version. So that refers to software version. In traditional environments, there is no hardware version. There is no such concept. Nobody will ask you what kind of hardware version you are using, because in traditional environment, there is no such concept called a hardware version, only software version. But when you come to Exadata, you have hardware version and software version, because Exadata is a combination of hardware and software. Now, Exadata hardware versions are V1, V2, X2, X3, X4, X5, X6, X7, X8, X8M, X9M, X10M. Then a lot of software is installed on Exadata servers. Primarily, you have the operating system, which is Oracle Linux. Then we have Oracle Grid Infrastructure, Oracle Database Software. Then you have Exadata System Software, which is a new software used on Exadata. So all these softwares will have their own versions or releases. For example, if you see Oracle Linux has its own version, like 5, 6, 7, 8. Then Oracle Grid Infrastructure. This software has its own releases or versions, like 11G, 12C, 18C, 19C, 20C, or 21C. Similarly, Oracle Database Software has its own versions. It could be 11G, 12C, 18C, 19C, 21C. Then Exadata System Software has its own versions or releases, starting with 11, 12, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Currently, the latest, greatest release of Exadata System Software is 23. So that way, when you think of Exadata versions, you need to think of both the hardware version and software version. Generally, when somebody says, what is the Exadata version you are using, it refers to the hardware version. Many times you see people talking about we have Exadata X9M. What does that mean? It refers to the hardware version. Suppose if somebody specifically asks you which version of Oracle database you have deployed on Exadata, then you will say 21C or 19C or 18C. That refers to version of database software. Suppose if somebody specifically asks you which version of Exadata system software version you have on Exadata, they might say we are using 23 version of Exadata system software. So that way, you have hardware versions, you have software versions. Every new version of Exadata, Oracle generally refers to Exadata versions using the hardware version. Every now and then you see there is a new version of Exadata being released by Oracle. Oracle says today we released a Exadata X6 version. Next year they say we released a Exadata X7 version. So most of the time Exadata versions refers to the hardware version. And every new version of Exadata comes with the latest versions of the software components also. For example, Oracle released a X10M version, which is the latest and the greatest version of Exadata available today. This was released in June month, last June, 2-3 months back. So at the time of X10M release during June time, whatever is the latest version of Oracle Linux, grid infrastructure software, database software, Exadata system software available and supported for Exadata will be deployed on that hardware. So that way, at the time of Exadata release, new version of Exadata release, the latest versions of the software components which are available and supported on Exadata will be deployed on the servers. Now, let us understand more about these versions, specifically the hardware versions. As a DBA, you know the software versions. You know the difference between different versions of software. For example, if you say, what is the difference between the 12C version of database software and the 19C version of database software? In every new version or new release, Oracle introduces new features, software level features. Similarly, Oracle Linux. What is the difference between Oracle Linux 7 and Oracle Linux 8 version? Again, you say some new features, software level features will be introduced in the newer versions of the software. Then what about hardware? What is the difference between the old version of hardware and the new version of hardware? That is what we are going to understand now. Exadata hardware versions in detail. This slide shows you the Exadata versions are hardware versions specifically and their year of release. Starting from V1, which was released in year 2008, till the latest version, which is X10EM, which was released in 2023 June month. So in between, you can see V2, which was released in 2009 September, X2, X3, X4, X5, X6, X7, X8, X8M, X9M, X10M. So these are all the different versions of Exadata or Exadata hardware releases so far. These are also sometimes referred to as Exadata generations. Are you using first generation, second generation, third generation, 12th generation? Today is the 12th generation. Exadata X10 is referred to as 12th generation. So sometimes some articles, some authors refer to as Exadata generations. Now, what is the difference? There are some key differences. I will highlight some of the key differences, most important milestone level differences in each of these versions. The first one is version 1. So if you see version 1 of Exadata system or Exadata rack, so these are called Exadata racks. Okay, Exadata comes in rack. In each rack, you have many servers. All the hardware components are inside this rack. The servers, the storage servers, the database servers, the network switches, the power distribution units. So all the hardware components are nicely packaged inside this rack. So when you purchase Exadata, you get this rack. You just plug it to your data center, power on the components, then start using your Oracle database. So it is pre-installed, pre-configured by Oracle. Now, if you see the version 1 rack is represented in a different color because it is slightly different compared to the other versions. In version 1 of Exadata, the hardware was from Hewlett-Packard, HP company. The servers are HP servers. The software is from Oracle. You know, Exadata is a combination of hardware and software. Hardware was HP hardware, HP servers. Software was Oracle software. Because way back in the year 2008, Oracle had only software business. Oracle never had a hardware business. So they had to, for a hardware components, they had to partner with some other vendor. So they went with HP. So that was the marriage between HP and Oracle companies to build the Exadata system. Later, things changed. So if you look back at history, Oracle acquired Sun Microsystems. Sun Microsystems was primarily into hardware business and, of course, Solaris operating system. So with Sun acquisition, Oracle also has their own hardware. So with that, Oracle has a diverse HP in the sense they they included their own servers, Sun servers, instead of HP servers. So from version 2 until now, and in future also, the hardware is from Oracle. Oracle Sun servers are simply called Oracle hardware. And the software, of course, is Oracle software. So that means from version 2 onwards, all the components inside Exadata are from a single vendor, Oracle. So if you have any hardware problem or software problem, you just need to work with one single vendor. So that makes sense, and it also reduces the management effort because you need to deal with one single vendor instead of coordinating and dealing with multiple different vendors. So that is the first major difference that you need to understand. Then the second major difference is the network. Because Exadata is a high performance computing environment. Every component, every layer must be highly performing, especially the network. And the internal network especially, which connects all the servers inside the rack, the database servers and the storage servers. Because the data should transfer from the storage server to the database server. If the network which connects the servers is a slow network, data transfers are very slow, causing performance problems. That's why Oracle did not use the traditional networking technology like Ethernet. Ethernet is the most commonly used networking technology in every data center. But Ethernet, even though it is very popular and common, it is not capable of transferring data at a high speed. So in high performance computing environments, InfiniBand networking technology was the most preferred and used. So Oracle also used InfiniBand networking technology in Exadata in the initial versions of Exadata. So from version 1 till version X8, InfiniBand was the networking technology. Later, in the recent version, starting with X8M, the networking InfiniBand was replaced with RoCE networking technology, ROCE, pronounced as RoCE. It stands for RDMA over Converged Ethernet. So, compared to InfiniBand, RoCE networking technology is even faster. It is 2.5 times faster compared to InfiniBand networking technology. InfiniBand compared to Ethernet is 4 times faster. So that way, Oracle always in the quest to use high performance components, highly performing technologies, components inside a Exadata system to give you the highest possible performance for your Oracle database. So these two technologies, InfiniBand networking technology, RoCE networking technology, are RDMA capable. RDMA stands for Remote Direct Memory Access. So RDMA capability improves the networking technology. These two are RDMA capable networks. The traditional Ethernet is not RDMA capable. Actually, there is a story behind this. When Exadata was launched initially in year 2008, InfiniBand was the only RDMA capable network. So that's why Oracle went with InfiniBand. That was the choice. At the time, Ethernet was not a RDMA capable network. Later, Ethernet also started supporting RDMA. That is called a Rocky network. It is the same Ethernet network, but now it is more enhanced, more powerful, and it also supports RDMA, like InfiniBand. So that is called a Rocky. RDMA over converged Ethernet. So it is the Ethernet networking technology that is RDMA capable. So in Ethernet, you have two types: the regular Ethernet, the standard Ethernet, the old Ethernet. But now you have a new Ethernet, which is RDMA capable, called Rocky network. In fact, Rocky is even more powerful than InfiniBand. So that's why Oracle replaced InfiniBand with Rocky starting from X8M version. That is another key difference that was introduced in Exadata versions. Then there are some other differences or milestone features that are introduced in Exadata. So let us understand them. In version 2, Oracle started using flash-based SSD storage. Version 1 had only hard disk storage. Later, SSDs came into picture. You know, SSD storage is high performance storage. Compared to the traditional hard disk, you get best I/O performance. So Oracle started using flash-based SSD devices in Exadata. So the first flash-based SSD was introduced in V2 version. And flash storage was configured as something called flash cache, which is one of the key features in Exadata. So the flash cache concept, flash cache was introduced in V2 of Exadata. Then in X5 version, Exadata introduced a new type of storage server called Extreme Flash Storage Server. Till X4 version, we had only one type of storage server named as high capacity storage server. High capacity storage server includes both the hard disk storage and the flash-based SSD storage. Data is stored on the hard disk storage. When it is accessed, it is cached in the flash storage inside a flash cache. Now, Extreme Flash Storage Server includes all flash storage. There is no hard disk storage. So data is directly stored on the flash-based SSD. So you get extreme I/O performance. So that's why it is called Extreme Flash Storage Server. So that was first introduced in X5 version. So starting with X5 version, you have two types of Exadata storage servers: high capacity storage server, Extreme Flash Storage Server. So if you want highest or extreme I/O performance for your Oracle database, the better one is Extreme Flash Storage Server. Then Oracle also introduced another type of storage server in X8 version that is called Extended Storage Server, XT Storage Server. Extended Storage Server includes only hard disk storage. It is a low-cost storage server to store archival data, cold data, historical data, which is not accessed frequently by your application. So by storing on only hard disk storage, you are minimizing your storage costs. So today we have three types of storage servers: high capacity storage server, which comes with both hard disk storage and a flash-based SSD. Extreme Flash Storage Server, which comes with only flash-based SSD storage. XT Storage Server or Extended Storage Server, which comes with only hard disk storage. We will learn more about these storage servers and more differences between these storage servers and the use cases where you use each of these storage servers in later lessons. Then continuing our journey about the hardware versions. In X8EM version, X9EM version, Oracle used or introduced a new type of storage called persistent memory, PMEM. Persistent memory is a new type of storage developed in the recent past. In terms of performance, it is next level to SSD storage. So it performs better than SSD, but below RAM memory. So it fits between memory, which is volatile, and the SSD, which is non-volatile storage. So that is PMEM, persistent memory. And they used it for caching purpose. Apart from flash cache, we have another cache, persistent memory cache. Compared to flash cache, persistent memory cache is even faster. So in X8EM version, X9EM version, the data was cached in two layers, one in flash cache, another in persistent memory cache. The data stored in the persistent memory cache can be read by database server using RDMA technology. Directly, it can read the data from persistent memory, bypassing OS and the CPU context switches. So because it is a direct read, the read is much faster than reading the data from the hard disk or SSD storage. So this improved the I/O performance much better in X8EM version, X9EM version. But unfortunately, Oracle discontinued PMEM in the latest version, or maybe fortunately, because in the latest version, which is X10M version, Oracle replaced PMEM with another memory called XRMEM, Exadata RDMA memory. This is even faster than PMEM. This is even faster than PMEM because there is some history for this. The development of PMEM was discontinued for some business reasons. The research and the further advancements in PMEM memory technology was discontinued by the vendors. So Oracle had to discontinue using PMEM, and instead of PMEM, now Oracle is directly using the memory, RAM, which is RDMA capable. So that is called XRMEM. So this is the new memory or storage introduced in the latest version of Exadata, and XRMEM is also used to cache the data. So now you have flash cache on top of that XRMEM cache. XRMEM cache is based on the memory. So it is even faster than PMEM or flash cache. You will understand what is XRMEM in future lessons. You will also see how the data caching and reading happens from XRMEM. Then another very important change Oracle has done in the latest version of Exadata is replaced Intel Xeon processors, which were used in all the previous versions, with AMD processors. So starting from version 1 till X9EM version, the processors were Intel Xeon processors, both on database servers and storage servers. In the latest version, X10M version, Oracle started using AMD processors, because AMD processors are very dense processors. They support more cores on a single socket. So that means with AMD processors, Exadata servers come with more number of cores than the previous versions of the servers. So you saw earlier slide, earlier on the database servers, you have 196 CPU cores. Earlier we had only around 64 CPU cores on the database servers, maximum. But with AMD processors, this number jumped up to 196 cores. So in futures, it may jump up even more. Okay, from 196, it may go to 300 cores on a single server. So that way, the X10M version servers are more powerful because you have more CPU cores, and more CPU cores can support more memory. So that way, these are more powerful servers. That means they can handle more workload and give you the best possible performance compared to earlier versions of Exadata. So that is how Oracle is constantly looking out for including or using high performance components inside Exadata, because the ultimate goal of Exadata is to give you the highest possible performance for your Oracle database. That can be achieved by using high performing components, hardware components, and the latest technologies in the software. Latest features or technologies in the software. So in every new version of Exadata, Oracle refresh the hardware components to the latest CPU, memory, disk, flash, and the networking technologies. The aim is to give you the highest performance. These hardware refreshes result in performance increases with every release. So that way, with every new release of Exadata, you get the latest hardware components. They contribute to the performance. So one way, you get the performance from the latest hardware components included in the latest version. On the other side, the latest version of Exadata also uses the latest version of software components. For example, in X10M version, say the database version say is 21C. So 21C version of database comes with some new features which are not there in the earlier versions of database. Similarly, X10M version of Exadata comes with Exadata system software version 23, which has some new features which were not there in 22 version or 21 version. So one side, you get the performance boost from the hardware components, the latest hardware components. Other side, you get the performance benefit from the software level features included in each software. Oracle Linux 8 is used on X10M version. But if you see the previous versions of Exadata, it was Oracle Linux 7, Oracle Linux 6. So compared to them, Oracle Linux 8 has more features and more stability, and okay, so that way you get benefit. Similarly, in X10M version of Exadata, the Exadata system software is 23. In earlier versions, it was somewhere 22, 21, 20 like that. So 23 has some new features. So you benefit from all these new features. So that way in Exadata, the performance comes from two quarters. One is from the hardware side. Second is from the software. New features introduced in the software releases. So that is what you need to understand when it comes to the difference between hardware versions.